I'm Chef Michael Montgomery from the Culinary School of the Rockies in Boulder, Colorado. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to very easily break down a whole chicken. Buying whole chickens is definitely the economical way to go. Not to mention, it is probably the tastiest way to cook off a chicken. If you're going to roast a chicken, if you're going to poach a chicken, really try to keep the bone on. The bone's going to give us moisture. It's also going to give us quite a bit of flavor. First thing I want you all to do is identify your chicken. Make sure you know what sides are the breast sides, backside being the backside of the bird, drumsticks, and wing tips. If you're confused, if it's a small chicken, look for the wing tips pointing up. That will identify the breast side of the chicken. This is the side where I'm going to begin. What I'm basically going to do for you is show you how to break apart the dark meat from the white meat. We're going to keep the skin across all the meat we break off the main carcass of this chicken. It's really handy to have a sharp set of kitchen shears in addition to a sharp knife. You could use a boning knife. In this case, I'm using a chef's knife. Whatever is the sharpest knife in your kitchen will make this a really simple job for you. First thing I will do is work on taking off the wings. If you plan on roasting these wings, you can go ahead and just simply snip off the wing tips. These tend to burn and there's really not much meat on them, so just get rid of them right away. Save them in your freezer for your stock, things like that. Again, I'm just going to find that joint, snip right through it with my sharp kitchen shears. I'm going to turn this chicken over now to find the actual joint that's attaching the wing to the main carcass of the chicken. Feel with your fingertips first, always. Any type of butchery you're doing, it's really wise to get your fingers involved and then follow with a knife. Getting down in here, I'm going to move the wings a bit and I'm going to feel for that joint. I know it's right there beneath my thumb, so the first thing I'll do is take my knife exactly through that joint, trimming off the entire wing. I made a bit of a mistake there. It's good for you all to see. I took some of the edible portion of the chicken with the wing, so use caution. This should have remained. On the other side, I'm going to try to avoid doing that. So I'm going to stay a little further out. If you need to pop the joint first, do that. That's going to give you a good idea of exactly where I'm going to follow with my knife. And then proceed with your knife down through that joint, removing both wings. Turn the chicken over. We're going to proceed at this point by taking off the drumstick and the thigh, or all the dark meat, all at one time. First thing I will do is just cut through the skin to see what's going on below. I can now clearly see, certainly if I pick it up and I pop that joint, I can see the joint that is closest to the main body or the carcass of the chicken. So I'm going to pop that joint, popping up right there, showing me where I'm going to follow with my knife. If skin is interfering, simply get rid of it. So I'm going right down through that spot, taking off the thigh and the drumstick all in one piece. We'll come back to this in a moment and I'll actually separate the leg and thigh for you. Doing the exact same thing on the other side. Any skin that's going to interfere, get rid of that first. Get down in there with your hand. Feel for a pop. It just popped right there for me. I'm going to now follow with my knife. Trying not to leave any of that precious, dark thigh meat, which in my mind is the best part of the chicken. Trying not to leave too much of that on the carcass itself. Once you have these two pieces of chicken, this is all the dark meat in one. I want to break this into 4 pieces. It's a nice way to serve it. It's also a good way to roast it. So we're going to look for the natural line where the drumstick is separating itself from the thigh. This is our line right here. We're going to follow that line of fat. If you turn it over, you can actually see the same thing on the other side. Whichever side is easiest for you to go ahead and find that joint. So I'm moving the bones. It's right there below my thumb, which is right on that line I was talking about. I'm going to go straight through that. This is where a sharp, relatively hefty knife is helpful. I have the thigh off with the skin still attached. And now just my drumstick, again, slippery little thing with the skin still attached. Same exact idea on the other side. Feel in there for that joint first. It's right below my finger, and I'm going to follow it with a knife. straight on through. Next, I'm going to show you how we're going to take off the breast of the chicken. I want to keep bone behind the breast. So how we're going to do that is using our shears again. Turn the chicken over, the breasts are down on my cutting board, and identify the backbone. I'm going to use my scissors, and I'm simply going to cut straight up through, cutting through a few very thin ribs. That's 1/2. Same exact thing on the other side. Just cutting out the backbone and nothing else. This again is perfect to save for stock. If you don't plan on making stock today, by all means throw this in your freezer in a Ziploc and start accumulating chicken parts that are suitable for stock, this being the best part. You can now trim any excess fat that's just going to get in the way. What I want to do now is remove the keel bone. So this is this piece of bone and cartilage that's running between the two breasts. What I'll do is, with my scissors again, I'm going to go into the thicker portion, and I'm just going to make one snip. Listen for the snip. Then it becomes quite easy to take this and press it and break the breast open. This is actually going to expose that keel bone that I was talking about. If you need to dig around for it, dig around for it. Hopefully it's not going to come apart in pieces. As you can see, I have a little fragment there, so be careful of that. I'm going to go as low as I can and try to extract the entire thing. Hopefully not leaving behind too many small pieces that could possibly remain during service. You want to avoid that. So I have all 3 pieces of that bone that I was talking about out now. Turn this over. Skin is still covering the breast beautifully. And I'm just going to follow the natural line and cut straight down through them in half. Beautiful. You can then use these as is. Once again, just trimming up some of that excess fat, skin, etc. Clean them up and make them look pretty. You could roast this just like this with a little bone behind it. Or you could always, if you're doing something like fried chicken, you wanted to make this a little smaller, just take it right down in half. So hopefully this simplified things for you. Like I said, from now on, after you've seen this little video, hopefully you're going to start buying whole chickens, breaking them down just as I have demonstrated. Again, just to show you, just take this right down in half. Ready for roasting, frying, etc. I'm Michael Montgomery from the Culinary School of the Rockies.